Debi Derryberry, and you're listening to Pop Culture Addicts.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to Pop Culture Addicts. I am Tim. I am your host, and you are listening and or watching a show that is made by this nerd for all you nerds. So I'm glad you guys were able to join us today. Now, our guest today is an icon in the voice acting business and has a resume that's, well, equally as impressive. Over the years, you have enjoyed her voice just like I have on movies, shows, and video games like Monsters High, Toy Story, God of War. There's The Loud House, Curious George, some of my personal favorites, Bobby's World, that's fantastic, Sailor Moon, and my absolute favorite thing that she has ever done is being the voice of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. I'm very excited that we're going to have a chat to talk tonight about her origin story, her process for character creation, and the importance of teaching voice acting, which she is also involved in. There's a few other things we're going to throw in there. Now, if you're new here, be sure to click that like and follow button down below. I don't want you to miss out on any future guests. But now let's welcome Debi Derryberry to the show. Welcome to the show, Debi.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me. Wonderful to be here.
Thank you so much. When you said yes, I giggled. There was an outright giggle. I was very excited. So before we get into the questions, just my one quick moment of fanboying, and I'll get over it, and we'll be done, and we'll move on. So growing up, I have two boys and a girl, but my two boys loved Jimmy Neutron, and I would sit and watch all the episodes with them. And it was one of those things where when I sat down and watched it, I was like, oh, it's just another cartoon. Okay, whatever. It makes them happy. And then I found myself laughing, and I found myself enjoying the show. And I was like, the show was so well written for both adults and kids. There was jokes for both. And yeah, it was just a really well done show. So I've been wanting to talk to you for quite a while. And
Thank you, Tim. I think as a parent, which I am, to be able to find a show that's an animated show that you can enjoy as a parent, not just because your kid likes it, but because you actually like it,
for
and
sure.
that your kids like it, and the content you're happy with, and you can appreciate the writing, that's rare. And Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, was definitely one of those shows. The chemistry was right. The writing was brilliant. It still stands up. And it's a smart show.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you put it on today and you put it in front of kids and you put it in front of adults, I think you would get the same equal reaction if it was something they had never seen before. It's just a really, like you said, really well done show. And so kudos to all of you for making us all so very happy with that show.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So first question I always like to ask everybody who comes on the show, Debi, and I ask this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like to know what makes people tick, why they do what they do, why they're involved and what they're involved in. And secondarily, as you may have heard in the introduction, I'm a bit of a nerd, and nerds love a good origin story. So in the origin of Debi Derryberry, what made you stop and say, this is what I want to do for a career?
I think I found something where people would clap for me and pay me to do it. I've always been a singer. I've got my guitar when I was 9. I've been singing and performing. I've been writing songs since I was just a little 9-year-old, and I've been writing and singing my entire life. And harmonies make me so excited. They just are my joy and my passion. And playing the guitar and singing. So I went to UCLA to be a pre-med because Dad said you can't make a living being a singer.
Okay.
I graduated with my pre-med degree and didn't go to med school. I moved to Nashville to be a country singer because that's what I wanted to do. And they hired me to sing, but never as a grown-up, always as a baby or a kid. And then I was like, oh, they're paying me to sing, but like a kid. And so many things happened when I was in Nashville, but the long and short of it is that I moved back to Los Angeles and got a voice agent and started booking cartoons. They started sending me on auditions, and that's what I started booking. And Tim, that was over 32 years ago. And I just keep booking cartoons, and I love it. And I'm still singing. I still sing kids songs and write them. And I have a whole kids YouTube channel called Debi Derryberry Kids. And I have a country band called Honey Pig. And we are 6 of us, mostly voice artists. And we play all over Los Angeles. So I'm still doing what I love, but I'm uh, my living is in voiceover, which I have grown to love so much. I mean, I love it so much. I teach it. I wrote a book called Voiceover 101: How to Succeed as a Voice Actor, and I have learned to embrace all these wonderful things about voiceovers, like getting to meet fans and nerds at conventions and feeling really I don't know, I feel really, I don't like to use the word blessed. I like to use the word uh, fortunate, and
Yes.
it makes me happy. And I find a lot of joy in that. And the thing I love also as much as everything else is cleaning. I like to clean and organize. I'm ridiculous. I'm a nerd too, Tim.
Well, hey, we all have to have things that we like outside of the things that we love to do. So
Yeah,
that's good. And I think it's always great when you talk to somebody and you can tell that there's a passion for what they do, because it's something that, yeah, of course, we have to have a job that pays us money and things like that. But it's so great to see when people are able to do something they enjoy for money, and it brings a sense of fulfillment to them and
yeah,
makes them feel enriched. Like, it's very clear from your answer, you feel enriched by what you've done as a profession.
yeah. I think uh, everything is behind the microphone for me. I mean, I love performing in person, but it's a microphone when we're singing and we're doing voiceover. And I I remember when I was a kid, we had a cassette player. Do you remember those little
Oh
cassette
yeah.
players? You push the button,
Oh yeah.
and I got such a thrill when we got to record our voice and hear it back. And I was like, oh my God, we're always like, is that what I sound like? And now I'm used to hearing what my voice sounds like. And, I do 40 auditions a week here from my home studio. That's what we do as voice artists. We work here alone in our little box all day. But I think it's all about in not enjoying my voice, but working with my voice in
Hmm.
all capacities.
Okay. So it wasn't until and you brought this up, and I was going to wait till for a little bit to ask this question, but you mentioned your band Honey Pig, and it wasn't until I was doing research for you to come on the show that I realized that you were in part of a band, and I was like, oh, so I went down a little bit of a path there,
Oh, rabbit
and did
hole.
some a little bit of a rabbit hole, yeah, and found out a little bit about Honey Pig, and so yeah, so I love that so many voice actors have some level of musicality about them, whether they're playing instruments or they're a singer or whatever it may be. But I've asked this of a couple of different voice actors, and I'm curious to see your take on this. And I'm very interested because of this, because of the discovery of your musical talents. How do you feel music benefits you as a voice actor?
In a number of ways. I know some successful voice actors who are not singers, who do not have musical skills.
Right.
However, that being said, if you do have musical skill or talent, it is helpful in a couple ways. One of them is called pitch matching. So if you hear, or parroting, if you hear something monotone, it'll be like, hi, I'm coming with you to the party today, as opposed to, hi, I'm coming with you to the party today. You hear all that melody going on in there?
Yeah.
And we don't often get line reads, but sometimes when we're doing dubbing or the director has a line in his head that he wants, he'll give it to you and you'll have to be able to do that back. And you have to, a lot of people can't parrot it back, or if they say, we want her voice a little higher. Some people don't know what higher is. Higher's up here. Higher's up by here. Lower's down here.
Right.
So being able to hear melody, and sometimes the director will say it's too melodious. Flatten it out a little bit. So you have to be able to do that. And also, a lot of auditions have singing parts to it. So many cartoon characters sing, and they want to make sure you can do
Yes.
that. I mean, with all the auto tuners, you don't have to be a great singer anymore, but it's helpful to be a singer.
Sure.
So
Okay. That's a
Yeah.
that's a great answer. Thank you. Um, yeah, that's kind of a common theme as to what I've heard is that there's, especially when you were talking about the pitch match and making sure that you're able to hit some of the notes that is required, having that sense of musicality allows you to see the rise and fall and put the right. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. We could say we'll just go with pitch.
Inflections.
Inflection. Thank you. It's like you're reading my mind. It's awesome.
And also,
Okay.
there's so many dubbing shows now, and so many video games. They're
Oh
translated
yeah.
from another language, and they'll play you the Japanese. This I'm doing this because this is the box you look at, and they're like, okay, say your
Right.
line, and it has to fit in here, and it has to sound like this, and you hear it in another language, and then you do it in English, matching the timing, the pitch, and the inflections, and that's easier if you're a musician.
I would imagine. Yeah. Plus the lip flaps. So
Well, they can massage the lip flaps a lot better now. So
okay.
and they can move things into place a lot easier than you remember back in Speed Racer where he'd be talking and he'd be done talking and the lips are still going. The dubbing
Yes.
is a lot more sophisticated these days.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. So with your band Honey Pig, and you mentioned earlier about moving to Nashville, wanting to be a country singer. Now I need to know, what were your musical influences? What made you think originally that that's where I want to hang my hat and that's what I want to do?
Well, first I just liked, the pop songs that were on the radio, the Linda Ronstadt and the Carpenters and the Beatles.
Hmm.
But then when I got into college, my roommate just kept playing country music and I liked it. And so I
Okay.
started learning some of the country songs and I realized that was it. But really, Linda Ronstadt music and the Carpenters and Eagles, they all fall into that category. I just like songs with really good harmonies that I could play on my guitar and sing from beginning to end on my guitar and not depend on all this other sound to make a song. Just a song you
Okay.
can play on the guitar. And I've been writing, and James Taylor, of course.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
so that's that.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of nice crossover artists there who crossed over, or whose music could be crossing over into country lanes, like Linda Ronstadt did for a while. Of course, the Carpenters, they had some music that easily could cross. Obviously, the Eagles, the Southern rockabilly sound, and so yeah, that's a very interesting. Okay, I like that. Those are good
But they all
answers.
have amazing harmonies. I mean, Beach Boys
Oh,
is not country, but they have great
yeah.
harmonies and great songs.
Yes.
Uh, in Honey Pig, we sing a Beach Boys tune. We do a three-part harmony on it, and it's kind of countrified, and it's super fun. We countrify a lot of songs that you wouldn't expect to find there, like All the Single Ladies, Put a Ring on It. We
Oh,
kind of
nice. Okay.
we countrify that one up. It's so much fun. Or um, Wrecking Ball. And then
Nice.
I have a lot of original songs that we throw in there too, but our audiences like to know the song. So we throw in some originals and we do a lot of covers as well.
Nice. Give them a nice mix. All right. All right. So there's also, we'll change lanes a little bit here. There's a couple versions of an old adage, but I prefer this one. Those who know teach. So you teach voice acting. So the question is, why do you teach voice acting, and how does teaching affect your own level of acting?
I didn't start out wanting to teach voiceover, but so many people wanted to learn it. And I had some friends who were like, can you just show my kids? And then it ended up being 6 kids. And I thought, I better make a class. And then it started being adults wanting to learn. And so many people wanted to study with me. And so in between auditions, I'll help people out in whatever capacity they need to get into voiceover, how they want to be into voiceover. And I already showed you the book I ended up writing because I was like, all right, I just got to put everything I know down in a book. And of course, as technology changes, the information needs to change as well, which is why this is a second edition. After COVID, everything changed.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't really start out teaching. But now people want to know these tricks. How do you get callbacks? What do I do with this animation audition? And, I'm happy to walk someone through their audition and say, hey, you're missing this, look at the stage instruction. You're supposed to be falling out of a cloud right here. Or this one, you're supposed to be landing on your stomach and talking through it in a pile of mud. How do you do that? So there's just a lot of things that people don't look at when they get their auditions. And there's pre-life and buttons and all kinds of things you can do to your auditions to get those callbacks. So I not only teach people I teach people who can't even read, up to people who are starring on very popular TV shows who want to get into voiceover. So I kind of teach the whole spectrum now, and I just fit people in where I can. And how it makes me a better voice actor is, I think it just reminds me all the things that I do know, but it's always good to review this stuff. So I guess just makes me live and breathe voiceover more, but I don't know if it makes me a better voice actor. I like to help and I like to share.
Okay. Well, I think those are good qualities too, but I was thinking specifically of perhaps that maybe as you're giving these tips and things, does it help you like sharpen some of the ideas of how you present your own voice, auditions and things like that?
Does it? I don't know.
Okay.
No. I do my own thing, and I think I do it really well. And but I can't say that I don't get some. I learn things from my students too. I certainly do learn things from them, and you have to. They say read the room. Depending on the level of the actor that I'm working with, it's hard for me to sometimes back off and say, do your own thing. Let me guide you, but use your own instincts. Sometimes I have to really handhold people, put the words in their mouth, give them how the line's supposed to be read, how to pronounce the words. Whereas there are other professional voice actors who have done all that homework and they want a different kind of guidance. And so you have to read the room.
Fair enough. That's a great answer. All right. And real quick for our listeners, if you're enjoying this conversation, don't forget to click the like and follow button so that you can get more updates from our great guests moving forward.
And if anybody's thinking of leaving early, I want to just plug my kids' YouTube channel called Debi Derryberry Kids right there. And it has all my kids' songs with animated videos. And it's so much fun. I don't know if that's backwards or what. It looks backwards to me. Anyway.
No, I can read it just fine. But
okay. It's Debi Derryberry Kids. You have to put the word kids at the end or it'll go to the official channel.
And we'll make sure to put a link down in the show notes down below for people so they can find both your official channel and the kids channel as well.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about process of character creation, because you've had a variety of characters, different genres, different characters, different requirements for those characters. Now, do you have a process for character creation that you like to stick to? Some voice actors in the past that I've talked to, they want to see images of the character. Some don't care what the character looks like. They want a write-up of the character, sometimes like a bio of sorts. And so do you have a process that helps you to land on a voice for a character?
Well, usually, because there's so many auditions and they're coming so quick, I don't have a lot of time anyway to think it through. So I'll look at the character description, certainly. I'll look at the image and sometimes listen to the reference voice, because sometimes they say, we want it like this character, which tells you the tone and the cadence. But from scratch, if I have the time and I'm creating a whole new character, I do have a series of steps that I teach. And those are find out where the placement is of this character. Is it down here? Is it in your chest? Is it on your nose? Is it up here? How high is it? How old is the character? This morning I was doing a newborn baby who could talk. So go figure. It was sort of like, I'm sad about it. I'm sad. So that was the baby voice, and I figured out where to place it, and I have that baby cry I can do. So you decide on your age. If it had been an ancient or a grandma, it would have lived somewhere here with a little bit of texture on it. And you can also layer your accents on it. If they don't tell you, well, you can make it from like Minnesota, or you can take them down to Texas, or perhaps it's British, you don't know. So you layer your accents with your age, with your placement, and there's always speech impediments. You know, if it's a teenager, maybe she has braces. Maybe there's a little kid who can't say their O's, so maybe there's the rolling O's. So all these little tricks you can layer to create your characters. And then there's always stealing, like if like this one show I did called F is for Family, a Bill
Yes.
Burr show. I do Maureen, the daughter. I do Bridget, her friend down the street. And I do Philip, who I totally stole from Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. Only I don't sound exactly like him because he's like nervous and his name is Philip. So, you know, stealing is another way. Or channeling, I call it channeling.
Yes, repurposing.
So there's a lot of ways to create your character. You don't just want to go in and give them the words on the page, because 99 out of 100 people are going to give them the words on the page. And you're not going to get a callback. The goal is to get that callback. So
Yes.
you want to do something a little different.
Okay. So let's take that whole process and let's apply it to Jimmy Neutron. So I have to ask at least a Jimmy Neutron question of the voice of Jimmy Neutron. So when you were discovering the voice for Jimmy, how did you land on that voice where you decided that this is going to represent a boy genius?
Okay, well, we are talking 26 years ago or something.
Yes,
like
we are.
that, 27. And this was in the day where we still drove to studios to do auditions. We didn't do it in our home booth. We didn't even have cell phones. We had a beeper. And when we got our beeper, we got on the payphone and called the agent, and they said, go to this studio in Hollywood and audition for this little boy. And I was very nervous because I had not done little boy voices. I was very comfortable talking like a little girl, but little boys, that was new to me. And when I went into this audition, usually there's a piece of paper and you sign in and you say, yes, I'm this SAG actor and this is my name and this is what time I got here. And you can see all the actors that have been there that day. And I saw all these amazing women who could do boys' voices. And I'm like, I cannot compete because I don't do gravel. I don't do that thing. I can do it for a second, but I can't do it for a long time. You know, I can't Bart Simpson. I can't Tommy Pickles.
Yeah, that'd be
So I did my version of a boy, which was a clear voice. So I don't think I thought about it, but analyzing it, he goes out the side of my mouth a little bit. Jimmy does. So that's the voice that I did. And then I put on my smarty pants, like I was a pre-med at UCLA. And so that's the way I did Jimmy Neutron. And they liked it. And it wasn't a movie. It wasn't a TV show. It was just a little 10-minute interstitial. And they liked me for the voice for it. And then they sent us these VHS tapes of the 10-minute little show. And I thought, that looks really good. This is cool, because it was the first CGI ever of a cartoon. And then lo and behold, they said, well, we're going to do a movie. And that was pretty cool too. And then there was a TV series and video games, and it kind of snowballed. And you just never know. I mean, it's not like people think you booked a legacy. You booked an iconic voice. You don't do that. you book the pilot and then you see what happens. But it did happen to be a very magical show with great writing, great casting. And that was back when we still recorded in the studio with each other. And they let us have all this fun together. And there was all this camaraderie. And we're still friends. In fact, this past Sunday, Honey Pig was singing at a farmer's market. And Mark DiCarlo, who plays my father on Jimmy Neutron, he showed up with his harmonicas. And he sat in on a whole bunch of songs. And we're just still great friends, all of us.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, some of the stories that have been shared from the pre-COVID era of everybody being together in the same room and acting and feeding off each other and working together, and yeah, there's been some great stories shared over the years between well, Rob's he's just a special human being anyway, but Rob Pulse, we had him on, and he talked about both. He, by the way, he broke into the most fabulous Carl Weezer song. That was just, yeah. He started singing Stacy's Mom by Fountains of Wayne, but as Jimmy's mom. It's fantastic.
Stay away from my mom, Carl. Quit flirting with my mom. Leave her alone. That's the thing. At conventions, whenever we're next to each other signing autographs, Jimmy's always yelling at Carl to quit talking about his mom. We still
I
mess
love
around
it.
with that. It's so funny.
That is great. Yeah, and just all those stories, they're very heartwarming, and it's fun to hear about that type of thing and I think that when you hear about stories like that, it's easy to see how that translates into the animation, how it translates to how the characters are portrayed and everything. So I think that's a really cool bit. And it's interesting that you mentioned about Comic-Cons, because I see that you regularly share Comic-Con experiences. You share Comic-Con visits with everybody where you're going. And so what do you love most about Comic-Cons? And do you have a story that you can share about a Comic-Con that means a lot to you?
Well, I love seeing my fellow voice artists. We have such great fun. And then there's something that happens when, like you smell something and you're like, oh, that smells like grandma's house, or that smell reminds me of that street I used to live on. It also happens when you hear something. And so I have this character named Draculaura who's on Monster High. So when people come to they do this cosplay when they dress up like this character. They'll come to my table dressed up like Draculaura, and I'll say hello in Draculaura's voice and do a little back and forth with them. And when they hear Draculaura's voice, hello, you've come to see me today. You are so beautiful. I love you. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you at Monster High. Tim, they break down in tears. Their eyes just fill up. Sometimes they're so overcome that they're heaving, crying. So I always travel with a whole big pack of tissues, because I have to give them tissues because their makeup starts running and they are out of control, but they can't control it because it's coming from inside.
Yes.
They are welling up with emotion. And I do love that. I mean, I hate to see them cry, but it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy that I'm able to elicit this sort of response from them that brings back these fond memories and lets them feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, it's I mean, you never want to see anybody cry, but it's also the that personal connection that you're seeing.
Yeah, it's happy tears.
Oh yeah, for sure. But still, yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, that's really nice. That's one of the things actually I love about going to Comic-Cons as well, is, when I go there, it's because I'm a nerd and I want to meet all the people who did all the nerdy fun things for me. But I also like watching people, because I'll admit I'm a people watcher, and that's part of, like I said earlier, I like to know what makes people tick. And I'm watching folks at Comic-Cons and watching their interactions as I'm waiting in line to meet, if I'm standing in your line to meet you in person, I'm watching the people in front of me, and it brings me so much happiness to see them be so excited to talk to somebody and it's one of the most that, and I love to talk to people about their cosplays, and especially when you can tell that somebody's put so much personal work. They didn't buy it off a shelf. Not
I
that
mean,
there's
they
anything wrong with
sometimes
that.
take a month to make these costumes or more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's impressive. And there's nothing wrong with buying a cosplay. I don't want to make it sound like I'm putting anybody down, but there's just something about a homemade cosplay where you could see the love and affection that they've put into each little detail.
Yeah.
So just really cool. Very cool.
And if whoever's listening, if you haven't been to a pop culture convention like a Comic-Con or an anime gaming con, they are a whole experience. It's like going to Disneyland.
Yes.
You know, you go in, you are overwhelmed with a sensory overload. There's panels to attend where you can talk to your favorite artist. You will see people that you never thought you would see. This actor who was the star of your favorite show when you were a kid. It's an interesting phenomenon, and there's so many conventions now that, you know, I'm probably doing 12 to 20 conventions a year.
Yeah. Comic-Cons are something that I never thought I would get into. And then I went to one and I was like, I can't believe I waited so long to do this. And now there's ones that I have my favorites, and there's ones that I look forward to every year here in Michigan, and I can't wait to go to them. And September seems so far away for my next favorite one. But yeah. Okay. Well, Debbie, you have done a fantastic job of answering all of my questions thus far, and I appreciate your time. But I do have one more silly question for you.
What's that?
Well, it's really not all that silly, but I call it a silly question anyway, just because that sounds like more fun. So the base to this story is that my live show co-host, Kathleen, her and her daughter were out and about in town, and somebody asked her daughter this question, but not Kathleen. And Kathleen thinks you should never age out of this question. So on behalf of Kathleen, Debi Derryberry, what's your favorite dinosaur?
A T-Rex, because it's just like me with short arms. I can't reach anything. My arms are so short. I always say, just call me T-Rex, because I'm 4'10" with short arms and short legs. So it has to be a T-Rex.
Okay, so we've gotten the T-Rex answer before, but never for that reason, and that makes it unique, and that's fabulous.
And also, in one of my kids' songs called Electric Car, in the animated video, I have a dinosaur in there who's a T-Rex, and you can see him and he says, we're not using any fossil fuel.
Love it. Okay. Yeah, again, the most unique answer to the T-Rex response. So
Thank you. That's a good question. So, all right. New things coming up. Let's see. God of War just came out. Calliope coming back after many years with the dad. And let's see. There's just always things that I don't know if I can talk about or not. Can't talk about that.
Yeah, respect the NDAs.
Grand Blue. I'm Mag Leal. That's having a little slow start, but it's amazing. And then, of course, my Debi Derryberry Kids YouTube channel, which I'm so excited about. I'm spending all my time making new kids songs and animating them.
Love it.
And
okay.
Let's see. I have another character called Baby Banana, and that book's on Amazon, Baby Banana and the Licorice Tree. And then I have a bunch of albums that are available, on Spotify. There's the Go to Sleep album, and here's the Gotta Go Green album, and here's the Very Derryberry album, and there's a few more. Yeah, and you guys can go to my website and see what cons I'm going to be at. And always working and doing stuff. I love voiceover, and I'm busy all the time.
Awesome.
My dog right there, see, he's eating his backside. Mango, quit it. Okay.
Yeah, but
because he can.
Because he can reach it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the life of a dog. It's a rough life.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for having me on your show and seeing everybody. Yeah, and the things that I wanted to tell you about, I can't tell you about. But there's all the stuff that's out there.
Well, I'll make sure to put links to your website and some of the other things that you mentioned there. We'll make sure those all go down in the show notes. So that way people can go to your website, stay in touch with what you're doing, and make sure that so when you are able to talk about those things, they'll be able to follow it and make sure that it's there.
Yep.
So,
and on my TikTok, I have like 1.3 million people who follow me on TikTok. So I try to do stories from the studio there, and voiceover 101 on there, and I have Jimmy Neutron talking to Draki Laura and little skits on there, and we have fun.
All right, perfect. All right, guys, thank you for watching and or listening today on Pop Culture Addicts. Be sure to follow Debi Derryberry on all her socials. We'll include those in the links down below. And if you enjoy what you heard, make sure to click that like and follow button. So until next time, may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by Pop Culture Addicts. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@pcapod.com.